The Justin Herbert era of Chargers football has been very interesting, to say the least. That loss against Jacksonville was an all-time low in the playoffs. But now, with Jim Harbaugh, it seems like they're trending in the right direction. Jim Harbaugh isn't like Kevin O'Connell or Kyle Shanahan. He got hired to establish a culture and lead men. He's not some schematic wizard, but man, can he establish a winning culture. And so far, it seems like he's succeeding at doing that. Last year, they made it to the playoffs, but can they one-up that? Now that's the bar. In year one, you set the bar. Playoffs. Now, can you outperform that? That's the question. They definitely have the quarterback to do it. There's no doubt about it. Justin Herbert has the arm to fit the ball through any window. His toughness in the pocket is only rivaled by the likes of Matthew Stafford. He's the type of guy you build an offense around. However, the Chargers are not trying to do that. By far, my biggest gripe with this team is that they're not really doing much to help Justin Herbert as a passer. Now, of course, he's very good. There's no doubt about that. I just talked about how good of a quarterback he is. But you look at this receiver room. All the tight ends except Gradson out of Syracuse are mainly blocking guys. You look at the receiver room, no one can really separate. I mean, Mike Williams, he maybe can still catch the 50-50 ball, but he's older. He can't do it as consistently as he used to. We know how unreliable Quentin Johnston is. Although, I guess he's fast. He wasn't a good separator last year. And then they drafted Trey Harris, who also catches the 50-50 ball, but he's not a separator. Ladd McConkey is the only guy who could really separate well, whether it's as a route runner or just with speed. And they don't really have the ability to take advantage of that because Greg Roman and the offense, the way he designs it, it doesn't really take advantage of guys like Ladd McConkey who could run routes well. It's a very plain, basic, vanilla passing offense. The play calls aren't anything special. It's nothing elaborate to take advantage of guys like Ladd McConkey. But what Roman can't do as a passing game coordinator, he makes up for with what he does with this run game. The offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, has established an identity around running that damn football. And you look at this roster, it is perfect for doing that. I mean, they're going to run the football damn well. There's no doubt about that. Their running back duo, Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris, both of those guys can run between the tackles very consistently, keep the ball moving, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards. That's what they do. They are going to pound the rock. And they have arguably the best tackle duo in the NFL with Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. And now, with Mekhi Becton on the interior, they should be a lot better between the tackles. It should be a really nice rushing attack. Then putting Scott Matlock out there at fullback, they're going to run the ball behind him a little bit. And he's not going to be afraid to pull guards, right? That's something we're going to see Greg Roman do. He's going to ask Mekhi Becton to pull across the formation. He's going to consistently draw up some nice plays to run the football and just pound that damn rock all game long. And I guess that's really how they're going to help Justin Herbert. Establish the run game, make them afraid of what you could do on the ground. Now they're overplaying the run, and now Justin Herbert's going to fake the handoff, throw that 50-50 ball to Trey Harris, and see what happens. But I don't see the consistently reliable target that isn't named Ladd McConkey, and that's what I'm worried about with this offensive unit. But you could get away with having a mediocre passing attack if you run the ball well and you have a very good defense. Luckily, the Chargers do have a very good defense. We know they run the ball well, but they also have a very good defense to put with this team. And a big reason why is the defensive coordinator behind it all, Jesse Minter. And his scheme is a true godsend to this roster. But before we get into that, let's look at the defensive talent that they have around here. Khalil Mack and Tuli are looking like one of the best edge duos in the NFL. I mean, they're outstanding. Khalil Mack is an older player, but man, he could still play that edge position very well. Tuli is a much younger player who's equally exciting. He's been phenomenal. Then at the linebacker position, off-ball linebacker, we have Diane Henley, who was one of the biggest breakout stars on the defensive side of the ball last year, and Junior Colson, who's heading into year 2 and can join that category that we just saw Diane Henley in this year. We saw Henley break out last year. Now maybe it's Colson's time. Colson is familiar with Jesse Minter from college. Then the secondary, this is a unit a lot of people thought was going to be very weak last year. We were pleasantly surprised by the 2 rookies, Cam Hart and Tarheeb Still. Both of them were quietly tremendous. I don't love Dante Jackson, but you put Tarheeb Still in the nickel spot. You put Cam Hart as the other outside corner. Dante Jackson, yeah, he's a little bit of a liability out there, but you should feel good about this secondary without a doubt, especially when it's rounded out by such good safeties. You got Derwin James as a versatile chess piece and Alohi Gilman as a rangy coverage guy with good instinct. And then all that stuff is put together by a great, great scheme. Jesse Minter is from the Mike Macdonald tree. That means we're going to see a lot of disguises all over the place, from the front to the secondary. And the disguise coverage in the secondary are going to be a very nice thing. But Minter is really going to hang his hat on what he does up front, the looks he gives up front. He is going to show sim pressures. He's going to blitz guys. It's going to be very creative all the time. It's going to be very difficult to diagnose what's going on the defensive front pre-snap. And then post-snap is going to happen and someone gets in free. That is what Minter does, and he is outstanding at it. He is going to show a sim pressure that makes you want to overload the protection to one side, and then they blitz 3 guys the other way. And you get caught completely off guard, and there's 2 free rushers, and they only rushed 5 guys, right? That's what this team does, and Jesse Minter should already be getting put in head coach conversations, and it is completely warranted. It's completely warranted. He is an outstanding coach, defensive coordinator, and he elevates a talented defense to become truly outstanding. This scheme is great. It allows this defense to control games, pair that with a very solid running game, and a fine passing attack led by one of the league's better passers, and you have a pretty good football team, but is that quite enough to make it in a very competitive AFC West? Let's look at the schedule and find out. For me personally, the Chargers are one of the easier teams to try and predict, just because their formula for success is very well known. If you could defend the run well, you're going to give them some trouble. You are, because they want to run the football first. That is how this offense operates. Now, if you have a good run defense but you can't defend the pass at all, you're going to be in a bad spot, because Justin Herbert is a good enough quarterback to take advantage of bad pass defenses. But if you have a good defensive unit with a great run defense and a great defensive front, then you're in a good spot. But that Chargers defense can also give you problems. Like, they're not going to be out of any game, but if you're a very, very good run defense, it's going to be tough for them. So, like, week 1, I have the Chargers winning. This game is going to be overseas. It's going to be in Brazil, right? But it's week 1. I think the Chiefs might get caught a little bit by all of the travel, kind of caught off guard playing against the Chargers. Although Andy Reid getting more time to prepare, that could go poorly. That can. For the Chargers. But I'm giving it to Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers to, they're going to come out fighting, even overseas. I don't doubt that. But I think the Raiders have a good run defense. I think that run defense is very good. You have Max Crosby, you have Christian Wilkins. They can give them problems. Now, can Ladd McConkey do well as a receiving weapon here? Maybe this could be a big Ladd McConkey game, and because of that, the Chargers' offense might still be fine. But I think this is going to be kind of a statement win for Pete Carroll and the Raiders. I really do. I feel good about that. The game is at home for the Raiders. I give that one to them. But then week 3, I like the Chargers against the Broncos. I do. Now, they have a good run defense, and they overall have a good defensive unit. But I think Jesse Minter could give a young quarterback like Bo Nix problems. I think Sean Payton against a defense like this, yeah, he might dial some stuff up. This is a very difficult defense to play against. I just don't think Sean Payton has quite enough to go ahead and beat a modern defense like this with so many disguises. I think Bo Nix could kind of get caught in the mind game a little bit here. But then I have a week 4 upset. I think that Giants defensive front is very stout. I think they're going to hold up versus the run. I think that secondary is better now. It's going to be a low-scoring affair, but this might be a little bit of like a Jameis Winston game where Jameis Winston just goes off, right? It should be a lower-scoring one, but I think Jameis Winston is just kind of going to have a day at home here. Then week 5. This one's really tough. Washington against the Chargers. This game's in LA. But I think Jaden Daniels is going to be able to do some stuff here, right? I think it's going to come down to this. Yes, the Chargers are going to get free rushers sent towards Jaden Daniels, and some quarterbacks might crumble under that pressure, but Jaden Daniels is so good under pressure, it won't really matter. And it's going to come down to Terry McLaurin making a big play on Terheeb Still. It's going to come down to Deebo Samuel. What could he do in the receiving game here? It's going to come down to what the secondary could do against this receiver core. I think the Chargers will be able to run the ball decently well here, but I'm giving this one to Washington. I really am. I'm going to give it to them because I think this is going to be one of the games where we see Dante Jackson get exposed a little bit. Then week 6, I think the Chargers beat up on Miami. I don't think they have anywhere near the run defenders you need to play against this Chargers team. The Colts, this is going to be a game with a lot of rushing, but I think the Chargers are the better defensive team here. And I think they have a better ability to push the ball forward through the passing game. Get big splash plays. I don't think the Colts can really do that. So I'm taking the Chargers. They're also the home team here. I have them continuing the win streak, even against a Vikings team that could give problems. Listen, the Vikings do all this different schematic stuff, but Jim Harbaugh makes the game simple. If you can't physically beat them, it doesn't matter what the X's and O's let you do. It really doesn't. They're going to physically beat the shit out of you. Okay, you have to have a certain personnel. You have to have strong, tough guys that can hold their ground. And while the Vikings aren't weak, per se, there's not someone I could see stalemating Mekhi Becton. Okay? There really isn't. There's no one I could see stalemating Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. While Omarion Hampton is running straight at you. You know, I just don't see that happening. Now, I think that Vikings defense is very good, but I think this is a Chargers offense that's going to match up well against them because of how physical they are. Now, week 9... could I see an upset here? Maybe. Tennessee is the home team, but they're coming off a win streak. The Chargers, I think the Chargers are going to win that one just because they have as much momentum as they have going into that one. But then week 10, I think the Steelers beat them. I think the Steelers are going to match their physicality. I think they are. I think that they are going to be good enough to challenge them on the line of scrimmage. All of a sudden, the Chargers need to rely more on the passing game, and this is going to be a game where we see, hey, Greg Roman, where's that great play design? Where's that nice passing concept? Where is it? They don't have it. That's what's going to happen. And it sucks. It really sucks for them because Herbert's a very good quarterback, but they don't have a legitimate passing game, at least in terms of the playbook. They don't have legitimate passing plays to run up. They have throw the 50-50 ball and hope your guy comes down to it, and they have Ladd McConkey get open, and that's it. Against Pittsburgh, I don't think that's going to work because against Pittsburgh, they're going to be able to do very well against that run game. At least that's what I expect. I think they're very good up front, and they could give the Chargers a lot of problems like that. I think the Steelers match up really well against Los Angeles. But then Jacksonville, they don't have the personnel here to go ahead and win that one. Week 12 bye, that's good. That's going to allow them to come back in Week 13, play against Las Vegas. Now, they have home field here. I think the Chargers win that one with home field coming off the bye. They're coming back for revenge there. Philly is going to be a team that's going to match their physicality. I think the Chargers just... Listen, you're playing a brand of football where you're kind of saying, we think our guys are better than yours, at least on the offensive end. And this is a Philly team where no one's guys are better than them. Unless Philly gets hurt, they are by far the most talented team in the league. Like, that's the reality here. They are by far the most talented team. So if you're going to play this brand of football where you're just saying, my guys are better than yours, this isn't a team that you're going to beat. Now, maybe you're able to give Jalen Hurts some problems, but I also think Nick Sirianni simplified that offense enough where it's difficult to really give him problems because Jalen Hurts only has to make some very simple reads, in all honesty. Now, I'm not discrediting Jalen Hurts. I think he's a very good quarterback. But it is a simplistic offense where you don't have to know exactly what coverage you're seeing. You really don't. You just need to see, is A.J. Brown in a one-on-one here? No? Okay. I'm going to hand the ball off on this RPO. Oh, your edge isn't containing me? Okay, I'm going to take the ball and run with it. I'm Jalen Hurts. And that's fine, because Jalen Hurts has a lot of great physical traits. I am not discrediting the guy. I'm saying it's a good thing, because when you're playing against this defense with all these disguises, you're able to make things look easy. Simplifying the playbook is not a bad thing, and that's something that the Eagles are going to be willing to do here. I think the Eagles match up very well against the Chargers. It's not a good matchup for them. Kansas City, I think they bounce back now. I think after week 1, they're not going to get upset by them. They know what the Chargers can do. They're going to fight at home, go ahead and win, especially because I think the Chargers, they're going to be competing for the AFC West, but I also think the Chiefs are going to be afraid of the Chargers a little bit. I think the Chiefs are not going to run away with this division. I'm just a little bit of a spoiler before we get to them later on. I think the Chiefs are still going to be fighting for something in this point of the season and potentially be worried about missing, the top 4 seeds, right? Week 16, nightmare matchup for Dallas. There's no way Dallas wins. They might just have the worst run defense of the past decade. They genuinely might. The Chargers might have the best rushing offense in the league. This is going to be a massacre in Week 16 in the Chargers' favor. Week 17, I think the Chargers will be able to control the line of scrimmage on the defensive side of the ball. I think this could be a big Thule game. I think this could be a big Khalil Mack game. CJ Stroud is going to get murdered throughout the season, but especially in this game. That offensive line is not very good. The Chargers are going to be able to do a lot of damage in that way, and they have guys that can hold up in coverage. CJ Stroud isn't going to have enough time to diagnose exactly what he's looking at, especially with all the pressures that the Chargers are going to send. And then Denver, I have them winning in Week 18. They're coming off a little bit of a mini bye. I think now that they're the home team, they have a little bit more time to prep, look back at the film from earlier in the season in Week 3, and they're going to say, okay, this is how we want to attack them. Bo Nix, be ready for this, this, and this. Bo Nix suddenly has a much better game way later in the season. 10-7, good record in a very competitive AFC West. I have them as the top wildcard team. AFC West is going to be competitive, but I have the Chargers winning. I really like how they look as a football team. That's all we have for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe for the rest of this power ranking series, and I hope to see you all next time.